Hey guys, so quick video today, and I made one of my most embarrassing, most silly errors ever over the last few months with DDR5 tuning, and that was I was under the wrong impression with regards to the calculation of some of the eventual timings that don't show up in the Intel registry. So for the Intel memory controller, there are some timings that don't really uh, sort of work the same way as on AMD. So tWR and tWTR are two examples of that case. I believe there might actually be the only two examples, but unlike AMD motherboard BIOSes where you can simply type in the value and usually that's fine. On Intel, sometimes it's quite a bit of complication typing in values in BIOS. Now, it's not something that's happening on all motherboard vendors' BIOSes, but it can happen depending on the vendor and depending on the generation. I actually had a friend of mine test it on his Taichi OCF. He's a Z890 board, and typing in the WTRs in his motherboard BIOS has the WTR strain in the BIOS identically as he typed them in. But when he went to Windows and checked the timings on Hardware Info 64, they were in fact wrong. They were off by like 2 ticks. With the Lightning that I own and that I haven't been using for the past few weeks because I got Apex, the Lightning you type in whatever timing you want in the secondary menu in the BIOS, and then you end up trading into a value that's way off, and then you come into Windows, and then this one, I don't actually know if this one reports the correct value for what you typed in. Honestly, guys, I don't know. It's a whole mess. Like, the whole thing is a mess. Thankfully, Vey and a few other members of OCN, I think it's primarily Vey because Vey knows pretty much everything about DDR5 registry timings on both AMD and Intel. So I believe the information that I'm giving you guys now originated from him. But pretty much what you're looking at is exactly how to get the correct WTR and WR values for your setup, regardless of the vendor, regardless of board. This will always work. So pretty much what you're looking at is for the WTR timings, you're going to want to use the WRRDs as the tertiary set them, and pretty simple equation right here. BC is burst chop, which is 8, pretty much in all cases. And with regards to tWR, I actually have no idea what happens if you disable the power down mode. I think PDEN kind of doesn't matter then, so that might just do nothing. I don't really know. If you guys disable power down in BIOS by like modifying the BIOS or whatever, like you can test it yourself and see what happens. But for most people's cases, most people have PDEN enabled, power down enabled, so you're gonna want to just have this as +1 over TWR pre, and this should work. So TWR pre, whatever you set there, minus CAS write latency minus burst chop will give you the correct TWR value. So yeah, and by the way, for WTR, obviously, guys, WRRD SG is going to be the long timing, and then that's going to correspond to your WTR long, and then WRRD short timing would be the different group, which is short, and then it's going to correspond to WTR short. Anyway, pretty simple stuff. I am not entirely sure if these equations are contingent on CAS write latency being CAS -2. That could definitely be the case, but I don't believe it is. I think the way they are right here is correct, but yeah, guys, generally this should work, but obviously test it out yourself. And the easy way to validate your results is actually to open up this hardware info 64 memory timings, sort of like sidebar application. So I'll show you guys how to get that real quick. I don't know when they added this, but it's been there for as long as I can remember, at least like over the last year. This may or may not be new, but this is something that I've seen for at least a few months. I hadn't been using it because I thought it was inaccurate. I was completely wrong. This is actually the most accurate one you can have. So this is more accurate than ASRock timing configurator. It's more accurate than memtweakit. Although memtweakit's only sin is that it messes up TWR. Everything else here is perfect, and they actually have memtweakit's nice because you can see your refresh panic WM. You can see refresh HPWM, which a friend of mine helped me set or tighten on the Apex Encore, and yeah, you pretty much see everything else you want. So you see your raise BCLK weight, which is something you can also change in the Apex BIOS in the MISC timings menu. You can see your TSXR, which is very nice, which I do set my TSX, TS, tXSR, sorry. And then you can see other stuff as well. So memtweak, it's nice because it gives you everything, like gives you all the readouts of like, RDLs, all these weird timings, you can see everything. And then the primaries are pretty accurate, I mean, except for tWR, but everything else is fine. So I like memtweak, it's good. It's a good app. ASRock timer configurer, I'm pretty much very much tired of. I think it's practically useless by this point because it doesn't really give you anything of value. Everything it does display is like that you don't have it on this app is kind of wrong, so I don't really see a point using it. For me personally, I would say stick to these two. Just this one's accurate, and this one just gives you some more information that you can't access other places. So yeah, but this app is perfect. This is going to show you your correct WTR values and your correct tWR value. And yeah, this can change. All the equations can change depending on, well, the equations shouldn't change, but if you type the values into your secondaries menu in your BIOS, you may or may not end up having the correct value trained into Windows runtime. I have no idea. It depends on the BIOS you have, depends on the board you have and the vendor you have, even the platform. If it's 790, 890, whatever, it's literally going to depend on so many factors. Even as I've even heard the data rate can affect it. So I can't tell you. If you can set the secondaries in the secondaries menu and it works completely fine and it trains in here correctly, awesome. If it doesn't, do it my way. Helps to sort things out. And the reason why I said I made the dumbest error ever made was because the entire time I'd been testing the Lightning, I had my tWTRS at 4 and L at 20. And I had zero idea. 420 is way too tight. That's way too tight. That's ridiculous. So in my case, with the low voltage tuning I was doing and my pretty average IMC, 420 was not going to fly at 8,000 to 8,200. I had to be more at the 76 to 7,800 range to actually get 420 to work. For long periods. With 420, the way it was set, I could have like 8,000 stable for like 2 weeks, but it would destabilize because my IMC is under too much stress. It's just not happening. It's not going to happen. So I wish I'd known. I could have probably fixed my long-term stability, but hey, it happens. I'm also using RDWR, SG, and DG on 22 now because my sticks aren't that great. And I realized that if the Apex Encore can do 8,000 reliably, which seems like it can because I've done a bunch of retesting, I'm pretty happy with the way it's set up right now with this low voltage 1.4 volt 8,000 C38 tune. I think for daily use is perfect. But yeah, this is how it's set up right now for me, and I think it's going to be working just fine. But yeah, guys, it's important you just make sure that these very stressful eventual timings end up training correctly because they can really mess up your overclock. So yeah, guys, don't make the same mistake I did. So that's about it.